Everyone. Before you get into this episode, we recorded video, but my camera, I don't know, it doesn't do what a camera's supposed to do. It wouldn't let me export it. It stopped. It kept stopping, starting while we were recording. So unfortunately, we only have audio for this. And sorry for the poor quality of this video because I'm recording it on my laptop as I'm editing, and this is one of the older MacBooks. So bear with me here, but I didn't want to redo the video because I felt like it was too good to recreate. So we're just gonna listen to audio. Bear with me, guys. I'm sorry. All right, everybody.
What's up?
Welcome back. It's been a long time. I know. I'm sorry. I was trying to get a different view of the podcast. I was trying to make sure that what I was doing and what I was talking about really aligned with what I was living. So now that we got our lives together, we're back, and I actually have a guest today. This is Michael.
Hi. Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Of course. This will be my first time having a guest on the podcast and his first time doing a podcast. So bear with us. Today we're on men's mental health because it is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month.
Right.
So shout out to all my men out there. So yeah, we're gonna jump into it because the important thing to know today is that men's feelings matter. It's one of my biggest points to people all the time because for some reason society just counts men and their feelings out.
Right.
It's not fair. So first I want to get your take on like why as a man do you feel like your feelings should matter, or to tell men out there who are struggling with their feelings.
Yeah, I think well, first of all, this is awesome. Thanks for having me. I'm so pleased and humbled to be a part of this, and that you tapped me on the shoulder, especially for Men's Mental Health Awareness. Um, Before I answer that question, it's funny because I worked in mental health prior to logistics. I worked and being an entrepreneur. I worked in mental health for about almost 7-8 years. And yeah, I worked with adolescents. I worked in a behavioral health hospital and got to work in several different roles. And then I also worked in eating disorders, substance abuse. So I'm very big on mental health, especially for men. But when it comes to men and their feelings, my take on it is number one thing is very simple: is empathy. When people can empathize with a man, understanding and knowing his feelings, it it causes a great deal for the man to feel appreciated and understood. Because men, we kind of harness our feelings at times. Men seem to think a little more. We tend to think a little more linear, and that's the way we're going, and this is how we feel. And oftentimes, when somebody is empathetic with us, they're meeting us where we are, and having a perspective that just helps fuel us to know who we are as a person, and not just like provider, protector, and I got to go work and do the thing. So I think empathy is a big piece. It creates transparency between the man and the individual, or whom he's talking to, or working with, or hanging around.
I forget that the ring lights kind of make a.
Oh no.
um, that's a that's a great take. I was like, I don't even know how to add to that. Earlier, I was thinking, well, I feel like as anybody, as a person, having a grasp on your emotions, you can just feel.
Yeah.
You're able to make better decisions if you know how to manage your emotions, because now you're not acting out of anger and things like that, which is from my experience with men in my life and stuff. A lot of emotions, because they don't know how to grasp them, it just turns into anger. So now,
and I totally agree with you, because like men who, when you can have a sense of emotional intelligence, it helps segue you to not only be in tune with yourself, but now you should be able to interact with other people, especially women. Like, I think that's a great perspective that you just mentioned, because a lot of people don't think about that broader part. Like, I have emotional intelligence. I know that I'm okay, and when challenged, I don't just go in an uproar and respond with just straight emotion. There's times to be emotional, and then there's times to be like Am I just in a space right now where I can process and get through, or I'm not gonna live here. I'm not gonna stay in this spot forever. So
Right. Okay. Um, sorry, y'all see me looking down. It's always my notes.
we got notes.
We got notes.
We got notes. It's okay.
And something I heard before I do these podcasts, I do also listen to a lot of podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So something I was listening to, an emotionally intelligent man holds the power as he knows how not to react out of emotions. And I think, I mean, we just touched on that kind of, but that made sense, and I feel like that makes sense just in general. If you can, so I guess my question to you is, how do you manage that? How do you tell a man out there who is having a hard time in that field, how can they?
Men need to. What helps men is you have to have a structure for your self care. And what does that mean? Like, are you journaling? Do you meditate? Do you have a routine where your self care enhances your mental well being? Because I think a lot of men find frustration in a routine that doesn't fulfill them. So one thing that some men know is taking their frustration or aggression on a weight machine or going running, which are all therapeutic things. They're good things for men to do, but you need to have more. Men need to have more ammo in the chamber. You got to have a diverse way of having yourself know how to heal, so you can be in tune with your mental being, because that part right there is where men get frustrated. They're like, this is the route that I'm taking, this is the only thing that works, and I'm sticking to it. When it's like, well, you can go outside, you can go for a run, you can go for a walk, let the sun hit you. I'm kind of a granola guy. I don't mind going, put my feet in the sand or the grass and like just getting quiet.
I just heard that term for the first time yesterday. Emma was like,
with granola
girl.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah,
You're
granola.
Not granola.
Yeah. I some people used to associate with like the term hippie, or like, I don't know, but for me, it's like when I am in a place of frustration, and naturally our body's response is like react. Making sure that you have a healthy way for men to release, and taking advantage of that time to just sometimes just be quiet, and again, meditating, journaling, those sort of things. Those are healthy practices. Those are what I do.
Right. Okay. Those are things I talk about. That's like the main premise of this whole podcast is definitely about journaling and taking time for yourself, which is something I had to do. This why I stopped. I had to get into the groove of those.
There you go.
Make sure I'm coming to y'all mentally sound. Why do you feel as a man that your feelings need to matter to the woman in your life?
They need to matter to the woman because socially men harness some of their emotions. And so when a woman is an active listener and vulnerable, or can be allow the man to be vulnerable, it allows him to demolish that social pressure of being like, suck it up, or hey, don't worry about that, or some of those stereotypes that men kind of we put ourselves in that box, like not when we're not sharing our feelings. So when we share our feelings with a woman, like, now that woman is, and sometimes it's just like, I hear you, or I understand what you just said, or thank you for sharing that with me. That must be very hard for you. Those are like some examples of where a woman can like really pour into a man, and it allows him to be vulnerable and emotionally connected with her. So I think if women can practice that alongside a man, or even just say it's not just like a boyfriend girlfriend situation or husband wife situation, if it's just community and we have a relationship, and you're just like, yo, I saw you were kind of having a bad day today. I noticed that you were out of sorts. Are you okay? It's okay to share how you feel. I know you're frustrated. And that can create a sense of like vulnerability for a man, where you can open up and be like, oh, I can share my feelings. I can share my emotion, when sometimes it's not welcomed. There's like the societal pressure of like, again, suck it up, or hey, get over it. and it sets the tone for a man not to share his feelings, or could.
That makes sense. And do you feel it's important that we don't try to solve the problem every time? Sometimes it's just I hear you, that's cool. I'm sorry this is happening to you. Do you want a hug?
Yes, 100%. Men can sometimes be very simple. It's not like sometimes like I didn't ask you for feedback. I just really wanted you to hear me out, or like, hey, I spoke my 2 cents. Can you um, can you give me some feedback? But most of the times, it's the I see you and I hear you that connect that have more of an impact than, well, I didn't really think, because sometimes I think feedback is great. I love feedback. I appreciate feedback, but not all the time. Sometimes I'm just like, I just really wanted to say that I'm frustrated right now and I had a bad day and here's why. And I think this person was out of pocket for what they did. And, for sure, I hear you. I understand you. I see you.
I hear that. That's one thing I am trying to work on. I'm a problem solver. So, like,
yeah.
My mom tells me all the time I take on other people's feelings a lot. I don't like to see people hurt, but
yeah.
Sometimes they don't care. That's not the point.
Yeah.
That's not the point.
It's not the point. And I think that's modest too. Is like men understanding that, hey, that woman that I shared this information with is a problem solver. So eventually she's going to come back and try to help you figure the problem out, or she'll give you some feedback. And again, if you're emotionally intelligent, men will know how to harness that and also like be receptive to it, because her allowing us to be vulnerable and share creates a more trusted relationship with her. Now I can tell her anything and she's not going to judge me or give me feedback right away. She will give me feedback, but it might not be right away.
Right. Maybe when you're ready to hear it.
When I'm ready to hear it. Or maybe she's like, hey, let's circle back in a day, right, or tonight, let's talk about that. And would you mind if I gave you feedback? Do you care to hear that right now?
Important question to ask. How do you want me to respond? Do you want an ear or do you want a response?
Correct.
Important question to ask.
Very important question to ask, yes.
I can read. My fault.
I can't. I'm like, where my glasses at?
Yeah, I think that was one thing I was listening to again, but that most of the time, especially if a man is supporting you financially and like logistically in your household, you're supposed to regulate his emotions and your household's emotions. That's what you're supposed to bring to the table. And like, you don't want to come home from work and immediately now you're being yelled at. Why didn't you do? Why didn't you?
Yeah.
Know? Why didn't you say? So it's more of I feel like there's a time and a place to bring up certain things when you're supposed to be supporting your man emotionally. So like, yeah, I might have an issue right now, but you just had a long day at work. Maybe we'll talk about it after you ate some dinner.
Yeah, and sometimes like it's funny that you said that, because I was at a conference in Las Vegas a couple weeks ago for a fatherhood men's experience, and the one thing that was like an aha moment for me, or reminder, was that men often set the tone when we come home, especially if you're a father. Like my energy when I walk into the house, I can bring it up or I can bring it down. So even when I would come home from work exhausted, tired, or frustrated, and I had to have a mental check before, I might sit in the driveway for 10 minutes and my wife would be like, take that time. Like that right there affirmed that I could like regulate my emotion, because it wasn't so much like I'm gonna come in here and be down in the dumps or like I'm tired. It was more so, she just gave me clarity, like I'm cool to sit in the driveway for 10 minutes. Now, yes, a meal for sure. A meal, coming home and a meal is prepped. And, I often see like, yes, a woman is the man's piece, but I still challenge men. Like it's also important for us to be intact, to know like our frequency it can set the tone for the house, whether it's a high or low. And there's been times I've come home and my vibrational frequency's been down and I'm not vibing, and then I bring my wife down or my significant, that's not cool. But for a woman to be like, hey, I see you, or like, hey, why don't you just take a minute and go wash up? come to the table, eat, and then you can kind of decompress. But I'm gonna challenge some men out there, like check your aura, check your vibrational frequency before you get home, and try that out too. Like make sure you're in a good space when you get home, so you can be effective with your partner or your kids or even your friends. Like sometimes you might meet up with the homies just for some food, and you're like, I'm just not in the space right now, and that's okay. But you have the emotional intelligence to know like the difference.
Right. I think it's always important to check, like, either with yourself or with other people. If you're trying to bring up a conversation, check if they're in that space to talk about that.
Yes, yes.
Or if you yourself are trying to go hang out with people, make sure you're in a space to be around people, because energy rubs off.
I don't want to see people right now. Yeah. You ever been on the phone with somebody? They be like, you're not coming out tonight. Like, I don't want to see people right now. I can't do it right now.
I'm cool.
Yeah, I'm cool. It's too much going on right now. Yeah,
maybe tomorrow. I don't know. And that's important. I think it's important to know how you're feeling at all times, and what you got going on. Because if we ignore how we're feeling, then that causes more lashing out. That causes more. Now you out in this public space all angry at everybody, and it's because you didn't deal with the fact that your dog ran away yesterday.
Yeah, and you're stressing out. Where's the dog? Am I gonna find him? Or dang, he always gets out and he always comes back. He didn't come back that time, so I'm all discombobulated. I guess that's the word. That's the term people be using. Discombobulated.
Just a little confused.
Yeah,
and that's okay. You have to definitely take time to feel your feelings and not just, oh, that made me mad. Okay, I'm gonna get over it. You actually got to get through it. I don't think there's really any getting over feelings. It's just getting through them.
Mm-hmm.
That situation is always going to upset you, but are you gonna dwell on it? Is really where that comes from. Let it upset you. Don't act like it didn't upset you. But then, like you said, sit in that car for 10 minutes.
Yeah. I can't get over it. I like that. You can't get over it. You got to go through it. Like I can't. It's going to be there if I go over it, right? It's just a hurdle. But really, like when I go through it, I've acknowledged it and not giving it authority, then I have the power. Like I am the key. I am the energy. Energy is neither created or destroyed, right? It always moves. So when I'm in check with my energy, that's where it's going to determine the flow. Like that's how I can be able to be effective, and that's for everybody, you know. So you might walk into a room and people light up and like, oh my God, let's go, what's going on? But it's like your energy's in check. And then sometimes when like people walk on, like you might see it at work sometimes where a certain person walks on the floor and people tense up. They're like, oh, here comes so and so.
Everybody's like, oh, Mike Crawford's on the floor.
Like, okay. And then some people are like, oh, there goes so and so, and they're like, man, that person's got a great vibe. They're always happy. Yeah. So that matters. It truly matters.
Work at a business where our CFO and CEO are always just walking around.
Yeah.
A lot of people a little nervy. Something my mom always says is that you completely have control over how you feel. And it used to bug me when she said that. I'm like, girl.
That's why affirmations are so important, because when you speak life into yourself, you can get through that fog. And so when you speak life into yourself, you can manage that emotion, because like I can control how I feel right now. And sometimes you're just like, I can't control it, but I don't want to. I'm not gonna acknowledge this right now. I'm gonna be in my feelings.
Yeah.
Straight up.
I feel like you can't control how something makes you feel initially, but you can control how long it makes you feel that way.
Yeah. Ooh, that's good.
That's what she meant.
Yeah.
That's what I wasn't picking up.
So you still upset about so and so? Are you still going to talk about that?
Yeah. And at first it felt like, oh, you're telling me to dismiss my feelings, like I don't want to do that anymore. But that's not what she was saying. She just said, feel it now.
Yeah.
Don't let it affect you. And I feel like that's something a lot of men go through, because you're growing up and people are telling, what are you crying for?
Yes.
Why are you sad?
Yeah.
You're a man, toughen up. You're crying like a girl.
Yeah.
Everybody cries. It's a natural human.
Everybody cries, and it should cry. I think you got some households too where you got some households too where moms, it's just mama or big mama taking care of the men. And so when you might have a woman raising a man by herself, where she's telling him to step his game up. Um, but yes, men are often told get over it, uh, and it suppresses their actual emotion and feeling. Are there circumstances in times where you have to like, hey, I got to take this on the chin for now so I can move on or get to the next phase or get to the next part of my journey? Absolutely. Um, but don't ignore that you're feeling an emotion. And there's again, it goes back to those society pressures of what a man should feel and how he should feel about things. But when a man can, when a woman is imparting in him to validate his feelings, and like kind of we talked about earlier, like listening to him, active listening to him, validating his feelings, kind of just letting him vent, that helps. But there's men out there that don't have that perspective, especially in certain households. Like sometimes dad wasn't available, or dad worked all the time, and it was just mom at home, or mom and daddy. I grew up in a generation where my mom and dad both worked, so it was me and my siblings by ourselves a lot of the time. So if the only emotion we really had at times was watching what was next on TV to watch, or get your homework done, um, and so on and so forth. So yeah, but
Yeah, you mentioned crying, and I've been trying to. I grew up not crying.
mm-hmm,
Like my parents weren't big criers. They didn't
mm-hmm,
really want us crying in front of people like that. Like it
mm-hmm,
was a toughen up kind of thing before my mom became a therapist and stuff.
mm-hmm,
So for the most part, my natural response is to suck it in. I don't really
mm-hmm.
cry often, but I've been trying to tell other people you should cry. So
Cry.
like you gotta cry, and I feel like it is important to cry. It does make you feel better.
It does. It's because crying is an energy too. I keep going back to that because crying is like a way for the release. It is the surrender. It is the giving it up. Um, and when people let that out, there's like a sense of like, all right, I can pick myself back up and move on. Like I can do the things I'm going through it. There's always those what they call like 7 stages of grief.
Yeah.
When you go through all those different emotions after something, pretty traumatic. Um, but yes, crying is essential. Yes, I cry, brother. I cry for sure. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm probably the crybaby in my household. I have 2 daughters, and my oldest just graduated. She graduated preschool, and so I was so proud of her because she, Dad, I know what she's gone through, not just from a personal perspective, but like I've seen her like grow, and I'm like, she's 5, but one day I'm like, well, one day she's gonna be 18 and she's gonna get out of my house. So
I love that.
yeah, but I do teach her. I do teach her that it's okay to cry and have emotion, so that she can identify when she's too high or too low. Like she's able to identify when she's really mad and frustrated, and she knows how to tap out. Like, Daddy, I need to go to my room, and she's 5. I'm like, okay. Do you need to talk about it later? I just don't want to talk about it right now, but I'll talk about it later. So the fact that she can do that, that's like, you ever heard divine masculine, divine feminine?
Yeah, I got an episode on that.
Oh, okay. So when a man can balance divine feminine, divine masculine, you create a world of certainty with your emotion, because the divine feminine creates empathy, support. The divine masculine is more of the structure. So as a, and the forethought, like the thing I think I talked about earlier, like more linear, direct. And so when I'm in the divine feminine and I can balance the two well, I now display to my daughter how a man should treat her, because if my emotions are intact and my mental is intact, she has authority within herself, where she now can process and push through and be like, oh, my daddy didn't talk to me like that, or hey, I know how I'm feeling right now, and I acknowledge that. So I think for men to be able to master and balance divine feminine, divine masculine is a world of like, it helps tremendously.
And don't hear the words femininity and masculinity and think man and woman, because
Right.
it's not it.
Right.
Everybody has them.
Everybody has them.
And everybody needs to learn how to use them.
Yes, that's correct.
Go back on the pod and listen to that episode.
Go check that out.
I think, okay. Well, how, I think I already asked you this. Yes, I already asked you that. And, okay. Would you say that you were always a crier, or you had to learn how to let yourself do
that? My mom would probably say I was always a crier. I'm a mama's boy, so it is what it is. But no, Dan, that's a good question. I think over time, I remember really getting a dose of like more of an aggressive masculine behavior when I went to probably between middle school and college. And one is being around other boys or men that just looked at emotion differently and they did not cry. My father never was like, suck it up. My father was always like, hey, do you need a minute, like pat you on the back. All right, let's go on to the next thing. Let's go have fun. But like when I really got to understand my true emotion and like after being hurt, like some guys go through like my first girlfriend, she broke up with me. You did all the things and I'm sad right now. But like some brothers, when you're around in like high school or middle school or college, it's like, bro, move on. Like, but I'm hurt right now. Like, I kind of want to cry, but I ain't gonna do it right now. So I don't know, but I think as I've gotten older, it's just like if it comes, it comes. It's like, okay, cool.
I love that you said that, because that is a huge thing that us women get frustrated by. So
that we don't cry?
Well, no, more of that. Well, my girlfriend in middle school broke my heart, so tough for you. Bro, you're 36. Get it together.
Get it together. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It happened 20 years ago.
It happened 20 years ago. She broke my heart. What's that movie? I always think about the movie with Will Smith, Hitch, when that girl breaks his heart and then he goes through this transformative experience to be like, but he's still hurt. Like he's still hurt about the old flame. I'm like, bro, like you're good. You're okay.
All this stuff went on.
Yeah.
I think, and that wraps up like everything we're talking about.
Yeah.
If you're able to regulate those emotions, you won't be 20 years later crying about the same girl. So the last point I really had written down was looking into women who don't feed into those societal pressures of men should be strong and not cry. I think even though as much as women complain about these things that you guys don't open up, we also don't really, a lot of women don't really give the space for you to open up. A lot of women are really, you're the man, you're supposed to cry. You're the man, you're supposed to, if there's a noise, you need to go check it out.
Yeah.
You can't be scared.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you could be scared, but still check it out.
Yeah, I think, I would probably ask you why. I would ask you why you think that is.
I just know a lot of women like that. I feel like a lot of times in Black culture, especially, they raise the boys to not have feelings at all. Like you're not supposed to be sad, you're not supposed to cry, you can't be scared. And I feel like that just raises this real tough shell that, and it's an unrealistic expectation. And I see a lot of women transfer that into their relationships.
Yeah.
So now, oh, you're scared of a bug, I can't be with you. Like, what kind of?
Or it's like you're scared of the bug, you didn't go kill it, so that makes you less of a man.
Right.
Yeah.
I try not to swear on here, but a lot of them, they start calling you out your name because you're scared of something, but it's you're scared of it.
Yeah. That's a good question. I mean, good statement. And yeah, I think I think there's especially in our African American community where it can be a twofold, where some households didn't have mom and daddy, and some brothers I know, predominantly raised by big mama, granny, mama, TT, like they were raised by women. And so when the male aspect isn't there, there's an impact of how they associate with, you know, we'll make it very simple, scare of the dark. So when something taps on the shoulder, like, I ain't getting up to get it. No.
Like, if you scared, we go do it together.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That is so important. If you scared, we can go do it together, because I'm scared too. I want to make sure we're safe. I want to make sure, yeah.
Somebody gonna have to do it. Let's both do it.
There you go. So that affirms, it goes back to what we talked about earlier, like affirming him, having empathy. And then I bet you the next time something, you know, the wind hits the door, and he probably gonna be like, I got it, baby, I got it. Don't trip. I'm gonna go handle it. But I think there's this pressure of, again, suppressing our emotions and feelings to where we're not vulnerable. And there's spaces where we don't feel like we can be vulnerable, especially in a relationship where, again, there's the nitpicking, or there's talking to a man out of his name. Don't do that. That's not nice.
No.
Just don't do that. That's not nice. Don't be calling anybody outside of name, especially your partner or husband or boyfriend.
That has always baffled me. I don't know how you lay up with somebody and you calling them all types of B words.
Right.
It's crazy.
No, don't do that. It's harmful to the relationship, and it's harmful, as much as it may be harmful to the man. It's even more harmful to the woman, because now you're projecting this negative spirit and energy on him. It's just going to shrink you even more, and so he's not going to. He ain't going to respect you either. He's not going to respect you. But yeah, that was I think I had one more note for that question, because you hit me on the head with that one. That's what I was going to say. When women do break that stereotype, you have now engaged with the man and his emotional intelligence. It's like, now we want to give all of us to you. And if you can protect it, like, one thing to like be vulnerable with the man and have empathy, and like you share all that, now he's going to tell you everything. He's going to share everything with you. And I think that's a healthy relationship. That's where you want to be. That's where you want to have a connection, and maintain that healthy mental space.
Yeah, and you can't be fake about it either, though.
No.
Like, can't go out here love bombing these men. If you care about their feelings, you care about their feelings. When you throw it back in their face, they'll never talk to you again. So
I have seen that happen. I have seen women do that. I've seen that happen, where they were in such a space with a guy, and like the guy was everything they'd asked for, everything they wanted. We were rolling again? Let me start over. Again. I think that's a good point, because I've seen that happen to women before, where it's the man of their dreams. He's the right height, the right everything, whatever, and it's demolished by how they associate with him mentally. And not only do they diminish the relationship, now he's sitting in the corner like, oh no, woe was me, she broke my heart, and da 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 da. So speak life into men, and if he's not doing the right things, then that's when you have a conversation. It's like, hey, I'm feeling this way when you do X, Y, Z. Like,
right. And that don't mean you got to deal with a bunch of like abuse or nothing like that.
No.
But just know how to, if the man is worth it, know how to cater to him.
Yes.
And if the woman's worth it, know how to cater to her too. The
Correct.
Same way that we expect men to cater to our feelings, we got to cater to theirs too.
Yep.
Because men do have feelings.
Yes, we do. We have feelings, and I'm telling you right now, there's a wealth of benefit in just a listening ear, a moment of transparency, being the peace, and being, validating his feelings, and being open to what he says, like being open and just creating that flow where he can be honest in himself. I think that's where it's golden. If a man can be himself, then you've won him. That's it. You've won his heart.
It's not hiding nothing. You got it.
You've won his heart and his mind. So, I think there's on social media, there's always this like, and I don't know if anybody else seen this, but like there's always this like how Nelly is with Ashanti versus his previous marriage, and like in his last marriage, he was very straightforward. He was very, and then now his new marriage, he's like goofy. He's all over social media, and people are like, well, Ashanti brought that out of him, and that's the assumption. But like from a healthy perspective of a man, like that's how a man should act with his partner or a significant other. Like he should be goofy. He can be firm. He can be a protector. He can be a provider. He can be all things with her when he feels himself.
You shouldn't feel like you fighting battles every day.
No, that gets taxing. And some men be like, I'm not fighting anymore. I'm just gonna go do my own thing and step out, or they will diminish the relationship. They're gonna be like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not vibing with you anymore.
Yeah,
that's a real thing.
These are great points. I'm happy to be doing this during Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Is there anything else you would like to add before we sign off?
I think that if men, mainly for women that are listening or men that are listening, like know where your resources are to get mental health help, and then also find a listening ear. Maybe a trusted friend that's not gonna give you bad feedback, but also like encouraging yourself to have some good structured systems to protect your mental health, like the walking or the mindfulness or the journaling or getting quiet. Like those things benefit you all. And then meeting in the middle. Sometimes we got to meet in the middle and have a conversation. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. And self-care also looks like watching TV.
Yep.
Don't feel lazy just because you sat down. You need to sit down
sometime. Yeah. Netflix and chill is also, yeah. My wife's got me watching this new series on HBO, and I think it's called And This Is It. It's like the spinoff series of Sex and the City.
Oh.
And it's got me hooked. I don't know what it is. It's got me hooked. Everybody was watching Love Island. I'm watching this on HBO Max, and I'm just like,
I don't do reality TV.
Yeah, I'm like, this is good stuff. It's good content, good story, good storyline, and yeah, that's kind of how she and I connect, and we have debates about the show, and we sit there and we talk about the nostalgia because it's a spinoff of the original series, which was in the early 2000s. It's like, what were you doing in the early 2000s in high school? This is what I was doing, and so it just creates more.
It's being born.
It creates, yeah. Y'all being, I'm sorry, I'm telling my age, but yeah, but it's insightful. It keeps the relationship fresh, and then yeah.
Well, thank you so much for
You're
coming.
welcome. Thank you for having me.
Some advice. You do a lot of things on your own. Give yourself some shout outs.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, I am an entrepreneur, content creator, full time. I also do a purpose coach business where I help people find, operate in their purpose. And so I'm currently doing workshops and series and challenges throughout every month of the year where people can find and identify ways to tap into their purpose, monetize their purpose, but more so walk in their call. And then, that's me. Prince Mike on Instagram. Prince Mike 775 is my Instagram handle. My YouTube is coming. It's called Open Mic Official. It's my podcast where I'll be having more guests over and kicking things off. And then same thing on TikTok is Prince Mike 775. So I appreciate it. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to have a wonderful time trying to edit this.
Do you